Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Fantastic news, breaking news, that I do not believe that you will see in mainstream media. Do you remember the Kanye West, President Donald Trump meeting that was much televised and also then much made fun of? And then they started drawing the lines of for or against. Well, the whole point of that meeting was talking about prison reform. And so Kanye West was talking about prison reform. And so the President of the United States invited him to discuss his ideas about prison reform. Well, it has now come to fruition about the prison reform, and they are trying to roll back the former President Bill Clinton's prison reforms, whereby Bill Clinton instead landed millions of black Americans in prison, contrary to popular belief that Bill Clinton was for black Americans or even popular with black Americans. Let me repeat that. Former President Bill Clinton was instrumental and key and a advocate of the incarceration of the black American community, to which he signed into law all sorts of legislation that led to the incarceration of millions of black people. Now, please do not be deceived into thinking unwittingly, I'm going to call into question your intelligence, that a judicial system can only incarcerate guilty people. That, in fact, is not the case in the United States, nor is it the case anywhere else. In the United States, we enjoy far more freedoms and our human rights are far more recognized than anywhere else on the planet. Be that as it may, the United States incarcerates more people than the entire rest of the world. Even in the most third of the third world countries around the nation, the United States still incarcerates more people than all of those places. So you can sit on your couch and eat your bonbons and your potato chips and eat your hot dogs with mayonnaise. This is me trying to be insulting, because mayonnaise is terrible. It's awful. It makes me sick. And think that they're in jail, they must belong in jail. Some of your finest and most popular black men that you see on TV have been stopped. First offense. Shouldn't have been stopped in the first place. Third-year law student. Shouldn't have been stopped in the first place. Arrested, taken to a holding tank, taken to jail. Why? Oh, we just wanted to keep you here for observation. Now, if they can arrest a famous, rich black man, what do you think they do with not famous, not rich, can't afford a lawyer, nobody's going to come and bail him out, nobody's going to come and vouch for him, black man? We're not talking about shooting at unarmed black men. We're talking about arrest, go before a judge, at a preliminary trial without a jury and end up being sentenced to 30 years in prison just because they can. If you believe the judicial system in the this is why I'm not a lawyer. This is why I'm not a lawyer. I didn't want to be involved and please don't say, well, you could have been a lawyer and you could have fixed, I could have fixed it. Shakaama could have fixed the judicial system. Please, oh wise one, tell me how. Now, one of the people who brought this to my attention is a famous, rich football player who was arrested and was put in jail briefly. Over what? Over nothing. And when I say over nothing, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not trying to be dramatic. Over nothing. You don't think they can put you in jail over nothing? Yeah, they can. They most certainly can. And they can hold you for the full, 72, actually it's 72 business day hours. So they can arrest you on a Friday, technically. Not even get the paperwork in that Friday. Just because, oops, it's past the mail delivery time. Okay, so they keep you all day Friday. We're talking about they can arrest you at midnight. Thursday night, they could arrest you at midnight. Friday morning. And you spend all 24 hours in jail on Friday. Oh, it's the weekend. Court's not in session during the weekend. The judge is not in session during the weekend. Okay, there we go. And technically, we can hold you for 72 hours. Guess what? That Friday doesn't count. What do you mean it doesn't count? It doesn't count. So you've been there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Doesn't count. Your time starts Monday morning, 9 a.m. So from midnight to 9 a.m. Monday doesn't count. You see the hours taken away? This is what they can do. Now, you're not going to even come before. This is just to see your paperwork. This is just to see your paperwork. There was a person in jail for months. Why? Because they kept going back and forth and the judge has to look at, the judge went on vacation. The judge? There's not another judge? Well, this is the judge that was seeing your case. You mean no other judge can see the case? Ladies and gentlemen, the judiciary system or the legal system in the United States is abysmal. And it's on purpose. They make money by housing people. Now, the people who make the money off of you standing in prison, I'm talking about clink, clink, open up the door, we got a new person. They start counting as soon as they say we got a new person. We're talking about, they open up the door and you step inside. They start counting. Who's counting? The private company that owns the jail. You mean the jailhouse isn't owned by the jailhouse is not owned by the city, nor the county. It's owned by a private person. This is the situation here. And we're going to put you in a holding tank. That's more money. We're going to make you go through a physical. That's more money. We're going to process you, a civilian processor. We have to pay their salary. That's more money. We're going to put you in the lobby. That's more money. We're going to put you in the holding cell. That's more money. We're going to put you in isolation. That's more money. We're going to put you in a medical observation. That's more money. More money, more money, more money. So, the President of the United States signed a prison reform, first of all, to relocate prisoners in proximity to their actual family, right? If they can arrest you and they can transport you clear across the country. Once you're in the system, once you're behind bars, they can transport you clear across the country. Why do they do that? Because if you're clear across the country, most people are too lazy or they don't have the resources to get a lawyer to go down to the prison and get you out of prison. Too lazy or too poor. Can't do it. So they systematically transport you to another prison. Also, if they transport, let's say they have one black guy in 50 different prisons around the country, they can transport all 50 individual black guys and put them in this one prison. I'm having some reaction. And then those 50 black guys can be put in this prison and they can now get more money because they have more black people. You know, it's all some sort of negotiation or something like that. And I have nothing to drink or anything. So, the President of the United States reformed it so that they would be transported and be close to their family or loved ones or whatever. Also, completely destroying and eradicating the minimum. Let me tell you, the United States works on the Old English system. A lot of people think the United States works on a sort of Napoleonic code. That means the law says this happens, you go to jail, right? And this is what Clinton was trying to introduce. Minimum sentences. You got caught with this, we're going to say that you are distributing this and that and the other. It's a minimum sentence of this. The United States operates on the Old English judicial decision system of law, whereby a judge says, "Oh, that's Billy. I know Billy. Billy's kind of slow. Billy probably was listening to George and Johnny, and I know George and Johnny are some very suspicious individuals, and I know for a fact Billy would never hold such and so stuff. He wouldn't distribute such and so stuff. So in my personal opinion, as the deciding factor, as the judge in this case, I'm going to say that Billy gets a maximum of 10 days in jail." Clinton came along and says, "No, you can't do that. We want a minimum 5 years." Who benefited from that 5 years? Did society benefit from those 5 years? No. The the private prison industrial complex was just salivating at the mouth. Oh, Clinton has now signed into law that Billy is going to come to our prison and he's going to stay for 5 years instead of 5 days. We get to charge the state of California for 5 years over Billy, who is as harmless as a fly, who wasn't going to distribute anything, who fell into bad company, and everybody knows it. Even the policeman who arrested him knows it. And we're going to make a regulation that says, hey, policeman, you can't decide that you know Billy and you know that if you called Billy's dad, although he's 35 years old, that Billy's dad would come down to the station, whack him upside the head, and that would be the end of everything that has just occurred for that weekend. Why? Because we know that Billy is slow. No, policeman, you can't do that. We have city regulations in place that says policemen can't even decide. Because policemen can decide to arrest you, give you a warning, give you a citation, or put you in a straight jacket and throw you down a hole forever, right? Policemen have discretion too. There's a lot of regulations now that completely takes away that discretion from policemen, right? A lot of the stuff on the books takes away the discretion from the policeman. Now, my personal encounters with the law, the policemen, literally, they have literally gone, oh, Jesus. I just thought he was black. God, what is this? Excuse me, sir? Oh, Jesus, he said, sir. Oh, this is never going to go. This is never going to go. And if he ever got on TV and started speaking like this, they would think we arrested the kid of some super duper, the mayor or the governor or something, and then I'm going to look like I'm a super horrible cop. So you get out of my face. Sorry, sir, for stopping. What you say your name was? Mr. Shakaama. Mr. Shakaama, please excuse me. It was all my fault. I didn't mean to stop you in the first place. Please go about your business. And in fact, if I could donate to your channel, I would. That has been my encounter with policemen. And even while I was in, they actually, I couldn't believe it. They actually put handcuffs me and took me to the, is it the jail? What is it, the jail? I have no idea. And so they said, "Can anybody speak Spanish?" And so I translated for them for a little bit. And then the lady comes, oh, I'm so sorry, but it's our procedure. It's our procedure that you have to be put into a holding cell. And I said, it's just your job. She's, I apologize. This is a policeman talking to me. I apologize 1,000 times. Now, if you can imagine that their procedures makes them put somebody like me into a holding cell, and they don't want to do that. Imagine if it was somebody that they liked, they knew, right? You know, I'm supposed to actually be a member of the court, and they're literally apologizing to me and saying, "This is I'm sorry, so it's out of my hands. This is a procedure." So the president is taking away slowly, and this is the reform that we need. We need all of these procedures completely erased. It is better for policemen to actually have discretion. It's better for judges to actually have discretion. And we need to arrest from district attorneys this notion that following mandatory minimums and demanding mandatory minimums is what they should be doing, right? Because we're tough on crime. No, you're not tough on crime. A lot of times you're tough on people who are actually innocent or people who are just a hair on the other side of the law, and we really don't want to be punishing people who are just on a hair on the other side of the law. Why? Because what happens? Please don't say, "Oh, we need to punish everybody." No, you don't need to punish everybody. Not everybody's equal. People who are just on a hair on the other side of the law. Maybe if I calm down or something. What actually happens? They get into the system. Then real criminals get a hold of them, and now you have turned somebody who is just on a hair on the other side of the law into a full-blown criminal. Now you have an actual problem on your hands. So all of this greed, "Oh, we got Billy for 5 years." All of that greed has now translated into an ever-progressing, worsening system. Now, that might be by design. They might want Billy to be infected by real criminals so that they can have a real criminal on their hands. So now Billy not only doesn't go to prison or jail for just 10 days, but 5 years. Now Billy gets out after 5 years, is a actual criminal, and then he comes back and is in the system for 30 years or until he passes away. He's now in the system and stays in the system. Now, that might be by design. Now, this is what President Trump of the United States is trying to eradicate and reform. And he had a good 20 people in the White House giving you direct testimony, telling you this president saved me. I was looking at a mandatory sentence and this president came and got me out of. Hold on, but wait, there's more. Most of the people also testified that the President of the United States and his staff were instrumental in immediately getting them all a job. You can't say nothing else, right? You can't say nothing else. You know who that doesn't happen to? Almost everybody. So prison now, of course, the one of the ladies said this needs to be permanent. Congress, this needs to be permanent. Congress. There you have it, right? So now the ball's in the court of Congress. Do you think Congress is going to go through with the full prison reform and repealing the Clinton era laws that put black people in jail? Black people, are you listening? Are you listening? Thank y'all for watching.